Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday night loving kindness class here at the Dharma Bum Temple. My name is Alex. It's wonderful to be here with you tonight, as always, as I am pretty much every Wednesday night. Happy New Year's Eve. I'm sure you're all looking forward to leaving 2020 behind and looking forward to a better 2021, as we all are. I just wanted to say to all the people who are watching and who have, been a part of this class over the last, 9 months, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing in my practice. Even though I can't see you, I do converse with some of you, whether it's on Facebook or even Twitter, or, and it brings me so much gratitude to know that you're watching and you are, continuing to be a part of the Dharma Bum Temple Sangha. It helps not only the temple, hopefully it helps you, it certainly helps me. I'm just so grateful that, we have this avenue to share, to share the Dharma, to share some loving kindness. And I was thinking about that a lot, that, this has brought a lot of, joy to my life, just, leading a class here. I mean, I've been leading classes here for probably, 12 years now. So, quite a long time. And when I first started leading classes, I didn't know much, if anything. I thought I knew some things, but, I didn't. And, 12 years later, there's still a lot I don't know. But I'm more confident in leading classes. And, now over the last 9 months, I've become more confident in leading an online class and not being so, so distanced. That's why, every time I always say hello and, ask questions and all those different types of things. I just wanted to thank you all for continuing to come to this class and being a part of this Sangha, being a part of my life. You have enriched my life in ways that you probably don't understand and probably can't know, but I know. And so thank you. Thank you all for being here. And I love each and every one of you. And so, like we do it at the beginning of every class, if you're new here, there's a chat box. You can just say hi. You can just say hi, what your name is and where you're from. Sometimes we get some really interesting responses. We had, someone up in the Bay Area, someone in Hungary, in Budapest. That's Romania. No, Hungary. Budapest. I can't remember. Oh, Bucharest is Romania. Budapest is Hungary. Sorry. 2020, man. Let me tell you. And then, from other places as well. So whether you're new here, if you're new here, please say hi. I would love to, greet you and say hello to you. If you're not new and you've been here a while, or have been here a few times, or have been here a lot, say hello anyway. I still love to hear from you. In a minute, I'm going to ask Travis to share all the people who said hello. So if you could do that, I would be very, very grateful again. So I go back and forth about resolutions. Sometimes I think resolutions are good, and other times I think that they're not that they're not good, but they're just kind of a waste of time, that you should just be striving every single day anyway. And if you kind of fall off the wagon, as it were, about things that you want to do or ways that you want to be, you just start again, and starting again might be March 23rd or September 4th. So but I don't know where I am now, but I think that, because of how 2020 has been, it might be a good time for some resolutions. As a Buddhist practitioner, really my first resolution um, is to not only, follow the precepts more, but also to meditate more, and meditate, be more concentrated and diligent and ardent and alert when I meditate. Maybe try some different forms of meditation, like maybe more loving kindness or more mindfulness or more, something, more gratitude, or, whatever you want to incorporate into your meditation practice. Uh, and so I think that's what I'm going to do. 2020 has been, a lot of change for me personally, and that's fine. And but part of the change was not meditating as much, which is not great. And so I've really, kind of rectified that in the last, month and a half or so, and I plan to continue doing that. Because I used to be like, do it a lot. And things changed, and so I did, not quite as much. And I think, I think we could all do that. I think that helps everybody. But not only that, but just to be more diligent about the precepts, about being kind and being compassionate, and because 2020, right? I had my moments, and as I'm sure we all did. So. Okay. Travis, has anyone said hello?
Yes. So Johnny said, hello, Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year, Johnny.
Eric said, thank you.
Hi, Eric. Thank you. Glad the trifecta's still working out.
Jean said, thank you, Alex, and thanks to Travis, too.
Yes, thank you for thanking Travis. Yes, he is the technical lead here.
Thank you, Jean. And then Jennifer said, hi, and thank you for leading these meditations.
Thank you, Jennifer. Wonderful to have you again.
Jeremy said, thank you for leading this class throughout everything. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Say hi to Meatball.
Marcel said, hello, Alex. Nice to see you.
Hello, Marcel.
Marisa said, hello anyway.
Marisa.
And then Gail said, thank you.
Gail. Wow, nice. Awesome. That makes my heart warm. Thank you, guys. All right. I didn't see anybody that was new. It's okay. So let's just get right into it, shall we? Let's get into your meditation position. So just allow your eyes to close. There's going to be a minimal of instruction, just because there's nobody new and you all know what you're doing. But I'll guide you through the basics, and then we'll go from there. And when we sit like a Buddha. Whether we're sitting in a chair or a cushion or on the side of our bed or at the kitchen table, we can still sit like a Buddha. Following the breath all the way in, all the way out. Not forcing it, letting it be quite natural. letting these words just kind of wash over you, not being distracted by them. Just for the next few moments, just rest in the sensations of the breath. And now, shifting our focus to now we can begin our loving kindness meditation and focusing on our benefactor. So we choose a benefactor, anyone who has shown us great love and great kindness. And we simply just radiate loving kindness, unconditional friendliness, and goodwill towards them in however way you understand that word radiate. In gratitude to how wonderful they've been to you. We'll radiate loving kindness to our benefactor. So now we can gently shift our focus from doing this practice for our benefactor to now imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us. They've already been kind to you and shown you great love. And so your task, your mission, if you choose to accept it, is just to imagine them doing this practice for you, radiating loving kindness towards you, and just receive as much of that as you can. Rejecting none of it, accepting all of it into your heart. So we'll do this for a little bit. Now we can shift our focus again to now doing this practice for ourselves. And we can either repeat phrases of loving kindness for ourselves, or just imagining our heart just kind of radiating from the inside, and imagining our heart center getting bigger and warmer, vibrating. Wishing loving kindness for ourselves. And we'll do this for the next few moments. Now, finally, we can explore the limitless quality of the heart. by wishing loving kindness and doing this practice for all beings in all directions. No matter how near or far, upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths. May all beings be at ease. And we'll do this to end our meditation. Just open your eyes when you're ready. Just take the next moment or two out in silence as you stretch your arms and you stretch your legs. Keeping that mindfulness of loving kindness about you. If you have any questions, comments on anything, you can type it into the chat box. We'll get to it in about a minute here. And we'll just take the next minute out and just kind of get ourselves together. Okay. I'm thinking now that my mind is maybe a little clearer, that, a kind of a constant theme in Buddhist practice is this idea of renewal. I mean, there are some people who say that every breath is a renewal. Every breath is a chance to right a wrong, or keep skillful intentions and actions going. And I like that about this practice, is that we don't get stuck in a lot of negativity, because each breath is an opportunity to unstick yourself, or to get unstuck. So especially now with how 2020 has been, it's been so challenging for so many people. And I'm sure many of you share in that view, and that you've had, similar experiences. That, I think that, having 2021 be this period of renewal would be a really good idea. I mean, it is for me anyway. I think it's a really good idea to kind of rededicate yourself to all those things that you find joyful, all of the things that bring happiness. And, we've talked about that at length, about what causes happiness. If you don't know what causes happiness, if you know what causes suffering, you could kind of glean it from that. And so I think that would be a really good idea. And I'm certainly going to do that. By changing a lot of habits and kind of bad habits I gotten myself into, and say, okay, well, maybe that wasn't the greatest idea, but I have this moment and I can start again. And what a great time, to do this. Are they doing something, Travis? Are they doing something tomorrow night? Is Jeff doing something tomorrow night, like a New Year's Eve thing, Zoom
I don't
thing?
think so.
Okay.
I'll be leaving a class tomorrow night, most likely.
Oh, just your regular Thursday class? Yeah. Oh, okay. But yeah, so I think that would be a really good idea. All right. Travis, do we have anything?
Not yet.
Oh my God. What do you guys want to talk about? What do you want me to talk about? This is such a pivotal time. It's New Year's Eve. You only have one more day. It's only like a day and 24. There's only like 28 hours and 18 minutes left in this year. Thank God, right? Oh my God. Do you guys have anything that you would particularly look forward to in the new year? I'd like to hear about that. If you have a resolution, great, I'd like to hear it. Or anything that you'd kind of like to happen in the new year, or things you want to do more of or less of, or anything that you're looking forward to.
Eric asked, do you have any good or appropriate stories related to New Year's?
No. But I do love a good story, as you know, Eric. But I don't think any of the stories I have anything to do with New Year. I always thought that, and if we had time, I would do it. I would tell like the Buddha's enlightenment story, but that's a long story. Even the Buddha's last days, the story of the Buddha's last days, which is an entire sutra unto itself. And it is super long. It's much longer than the enlightenment story. All these things that he wanted to do before, he died. And when he did, he was kind of like the Sangha was born again new. So that was, I think that's really interesting. One of the things that's really interesting about that story, and this is just like a snippet of a story that was interesting, is, as you know, or maybe you don't know, but the Buddha had these two chief disciples. He had Sariputra and he had Moggallana. And the story of how they became his two chief disciples is really, I'm seeing if I have enough time for this. I do. So I'm going to do like two stories. I'm going to kind of like graph them together. Do they have anything to do with New Year's? No. But I'm just going to say this anyway. Well, maybe they do. So shortly after the Buddha became enlightened, when he was 35, right about that time exactly, they had these two Brahmin youths, Sariputra and Moggallana. And they had different names then, but they were Brahmin youths, and they each commanded like 500 other youths. And one time they had this big old party at this hilltop, and it was those two and all the 1,000 people there just having a good time and playing games and kind of being silly and doing the things that boys do. And Sariputra looks to Moggallana and he just goes, "Is this all there is? Is this it? Is this what I have to look forward to the rest of my life? Just having fun and being carefree? And there has to be more to life than this. I think I'm going to search for, to really explore my interior life and really search for enlightenment." And Moggallana turns to him and says, "You know what? I was just kind of thinking the same thing. Yeah, let's go do that. Let's go do that." And so even though they were young, they were relatively kind of disaffected by all this happiness and and not happiness, but all this merriment and partying and the party lifestyle and all this kind of thing. And so they went out to find a teacher, and they found this teacher. And both of them took their 500, the group of 500 each with them. And they found this guy, his name was Sanjaya. And Sanjaya, back in India of the day, you could just shake a stick and hit 50 gurus. And so this is the guy that they found, right? Finding a guru was simple. It was so easy. India was going through this kind of spiritual resurgence, this renaissance, if you will. And so they found this guy, Sanjaya, and they studied under him, and they learned his meditation technique, and all the 1,000, they learned the meditation meditation technique as well, and they learned Sanjaya's Dharma. But after a short while, they kind of said, "Is this it? This is all he knows?" And they were kind of speaking amongst each other, and they said, "I think that we need to kind of split up and find somebody else, because although I'm grateful for this guy, he doesn't have the end goal in mind. He doesn't, he's not the guru that I would want to be with. He's not enlightened, and that's kind of what I want in the guru, that we need in the guru." So they said, "Okay, so Mogalan, you go that way, and I'll go this way, and we'll find it. And if we find somebody, then we're going to go and we'll tell the other one, and then we'll go study under this new guy." And so, fine. And so Sariputra was kind of walking along, and it was early morning, and he saw this monk, and who was walking so slowly, so mindfully, with his bowl and his robe. And he just struck him as someone who had what he wanted, right? Who was so just very calm and serene. And it turned out to be this monk named Asaji. And Asaji was one of the Buddha's 5 monks who was at his first sermon. The very first sermon that the Buddha gave to the 5 monks who had earlier disavowed him and abandoned him. Asaji was one of those, and that's the guy he saw walking so calmly and mindfully. And he goes, "Well, it's early in the morning before his alms round, so I'm not going to do anything right now. I'm not going to go up and approach him, but I'm going to wait." And he waited, and after his alms rounds were done, he goes up to him and says, "You look so calm and serene, and you walk so, and you're so unperturbed in thought or anything like that. Who is your guru, and what is his dharma?" Asaji was very honest. He goes, "My guru is the Buddha, the enlightened one. And I'll be honest, I'm really, really new. And so I can't recite his dharma in detail. But he recited this stanza that basically said, all things arise from a cause, and there's more to it than that. But, that's kind of what he talked about, impermanence and things arising from a cause. And he only finished with like half of the stanza, and he was like, he reached like that first stage of enlightenment. It woke him up. It woke Sariputra up like that. So he reached what's called stream entry right there, halfway through. And then he goes, this is the guy we need to study with, this Buddha. And he found out where he was, and he goes to get Moggallana, and he tells Moggallana what this stanza was. And at the end of that stanza, Moggallana, he reaches the first stage of enlightenment, this kind of stream entry. And, so they both say, okay, we have to go study under this guy and this Buddha. And so, but they said first, we have to go and thank Sanjaya for his teachings, and then we'll go. Because, they're a Brahmin youth, they're very, very respectful. So they're going to, thank him and say goodbye. So they go to Sanjaya and they say, we found this teacher, he's the fully enlightened one, the Buddha, and we're going to go study under him. Thank you so much for everything that you have done, and we really, really appreciate it. And but we're going to go study under him. And Sanjaya was like, he was like, please don't go, please don't go, please don't go, please don't go. He begged him not to go, and he goes, we must go because he has what we're looking for. And so they go, and as you know, Moggallana had 500 under him, and Sariputra had 500 under him. Sanjaya had 500 under him too, and so he was worried about they were going to go as well. But Sariputra and Moggallana goes, "Hey, I know. Why don't you come with us? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come with us. I mean, he's fully enlightened. He's the real deal. Why don't you come with us?" He goes, "No, absolutely not. I'm not coming." And they begged him, and they asked him a second, and they asked him a third time. And he said no, and they go, "Well, why not?" And he goes, "You know what? Here I'm well respected, and I have people under me, and I'm the teacher. If I go with you, I'll just be a student again. I won't have that prestige and that notoriety, and people looking up to me, and saying all these wonderful things about me." And Sariputra and Moggallana looked and go, "This doesn't make any sense to us. I mean, how can you be that way? How do you expect to keep students like this if they know about the Buddha?" And Sanjaya looked at them and he said, "Here's the deal. The wise people will go to the Buddha, and the fools will come to me. There will always be fools." And Sanjaya is admitting that I know I'm an imposter. I'm kind of a fraud. He doesn't care because he knows people will still come to him. People will still look up to him. They'll still feed his ego and everything like that. And so Sariputra and Moggallana said, "Okay, well, peace out. We're going." And so they left, and they took their 1,000 folks from them, and 250 of Sanjaya's people went with him as well. And Sanjaya was so upset that he was spitting blood or throwing up blood. He was so angry. That was kind of that's the kind of metaphor that they gave of how angry he was. And so this last part of the story, I think, that's one story. This next snippet also has to do with Sariputra, and it was during Sariputra's last days. And Sariputra was like, "Well, the Buddha is 80, and Sariputra and Moggallana were a little bit younger than that." But Sariputra just kind of asked, "Well, who's supposed to go first?" He asked of himself, "Who's supposed to go first? Are the chief disciples supposed to go first? Or is the Buddha supposed to go first?" And he kind of, meditated on it and asked himself that question. And he came to the conclusion, he said, "Oh, the chief disciples have to go first." And so right then and there, Sariputra gave up his life force, and the earth shook. And then one of the things that Sariputra did is he asked himself, is there anything else that I need to accomplish in this life before I go? Anything. And he thought, and he goes, "Well, there is one thing. Sariputra's mother was a proud Brahmin woman, very proud Brahmin woman who had 7 sons. And Sariputra was just one of them. But all 7 of her sons were enlightened Buddhist monks. And even though they were all enlightened Buddhist monks, she was still a proud Brahmin woman. And every single time that he approached his mother and tried to maybe explain the Dharma and explain the Buddha and how, what this has meant to him and explain the teaching, she said, "I don't care. I'm a proud Brahmin woman." She was just she was hung up on that, and she wasn't going to give in for anything. And it's a long story, but, eventually he made his way to his mother's house, who was, quite old and kind of around the Buddha's age. And he eventually convinced her, to not necessarily renounce being a Brahmin woman, but just being to go for the Buddha, right? to go to the Buddha for refuge. And so that was it was just interesting. These two stories, short stories about about Sariputra. So what do they have to do about renewal? I don't know. There's just things that I thought of at the top of my head when Eric asked me. All right. So anything else do we have, Travis?
So Gail had shared, I'm trying so hard to have loving kindness and compassion for someone that has hurt me terribly, but it's hard.
So what I would like for you to do, Gail, is can you do loving kindness for yourself? Because whenever you have these thoughts about this person harming you, you relive this again in your mind, which causes harm to you. And can you have, loving kindness for yourself for that? And can you concentrate on that for a while? Can you concentrate on the loving kindness for you and not feel that you have to automatically go for loving kindness for this person? And I think that's sometimes, that's our natural tendency when we hear the teachings and understand the practice a bit. That, it's if I really want to be in line, I really just got to go for the enemy and like this one who hurt me really, 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 really bad. And this is where we kind of get caught up, right? Because it's like so difficult. It's like, but there's this resistance because like I can't go there. And you don't have to go there yet. You don't. Start with the little things first, the little annoyances that you have with people. Start with having loving kindness for yourself every time you have these negative thoughts, when you kind of relive the actions of this person. Right? So you don't have to, there's no like timeline you have to have. But there are some things you can do in preparation for that. Eventually you'll get there. I'm confident of that. But start with small annoyances and start with loving kindness for yourself. You can never go wrong with that. It'll put you in really good stead for the time when you're ready. And you're ready when you're ready. You don't have to be ready now. You don't have to be ready a year from now or 5 years from now or 3 years from now. But again, work on loving kindness for yourself, because right now, that's the damage that's being done. Okay? Thank you. Is that it? Awesome. And it's 8 o'clock. Look at that. Well, you guys, that was awesome. So let's join our palms together at our hearts, please. And may the benefits of this meditation and this discussion be received by all beings in all directions. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen for the beautiful, radiant beings that you are. Thank you for coming. Happy New Year, everybody. Again, I love you all. This has been the Loving Kindness class, and we'll see you again next week in 2021. Bye now.